I'm Dr. Rachel Griffiths, and I'm with my father and partner in aquatics,
Dr. Tom Griffiths.
Welcome to the Drowning Files, where each week we discuss a case we've been involved in or another true story with suggestions to learn from these tragedies to save lives. What case do you have today?
There was a family, actually it was a mother and the son. I believe there was a divorce. The father wasn't a part of this, but they had a nice big house with a pretty residential pool. And the son at this residence was turning 21. So the mom wanted to have a 21-year-old birthday party. And it just so happens that this mom and this son were pretty big partiers. They were known to be partiers, and oftentimes there would be a bunch of kids at the house, adults and kids, hanging out and partying. And it was known that they were having alcohol, which was being taken freely, and sometimes recreational drugs. But it was a, I hate to use this term, but it's pretty accurate. It was like an Animal House situation of a backyard pool. So they had this 21-year-old birthday party. And as you know, usually 21, that's the legal drinking age. People were really going crazy. They had kegs. They were doing keg stands. They were doing all these different games that I never heard of before. And the pool was right adjacent to where the patio was, where all the alcohol was being served and consumed. Now, the crazy thing about this situation was the pool was only half full. And it was in close proximity to where everyone was, and it was half full. And people were texting their friends back and forth, hey, why don't you come over? So this young lady who was under 21 with her friends, someone at the party invited them over, and they came in and started drinking. And this young lady got very drunk. And alcohol, again, was served to the minors. The people knew that there were people underage there. And someone fell in the pool, which was half full. Another one jumped in the pool. It was captured on video. And to make a long story short, after a while, this girl makes an announcement, starts yelling, hey, I'm going to jump in the pool. And she was encouraged to. They started cheering. And sure enough, she runs down the deck. And what does she do? She does a forward dive into the pool, into about waist deep water. And she ends up being a quadriplegic. Give you all these cases are horrible, horrible. And so her family brings a lawsuit against the host family, the mother who owned the pool, and the son. And it was a long case. Depositions were taken, inspections were taken. But this was a very egregious case on the part of the defendants because they didn't close off the pool. They didn't, and they had a cover. They had a security cover for the pool. They didn't put that on in place. It was in the spring before normal pool season, and this was a alcohol fueled party, and you just would expect that this open pit of a swimming pool would be an accident waiting to happen, and of course it was. So this case just ended up and settled a few weeks ago, and the plaintiff, the one who was suing, who was intoxicated at the time and who was underage, their family received a very large settlement. I think I know the number, but I can't tell y'all. But it was a big settlement for the plaintiff. I might add that in another situation, the woman probably would have been arrested for providing alcohol to minors for breaking the law. But for some reason, the police didn't press charges. And so not only was this the lawsuit, but it could have been a criminal activity, from what I understand. And so basically, that's what I have for you, Rach.
So it seems like when there are a lot of young people or young adults at a pool, often at least one person wants to go and dive. What is that about the pool environment or that group of people, and how do you prevent that if it's possible?
Yeah, great question. And diving is it's a quick, impromptu activity. We timed this at Penn State. You were involved with that study that we did, and a running dive from a pool deck from the time your toes leave the end of your toes leave the swimming pool deck until you hit the bottom takes less than a second. So diving is a fun activity that takes a very, very short time. And usually in the vast majority of the cases, people don't announce that they're going to dive. They just dive. Now, in this case, the girl said she was going to jump. But what is it about diving? It's a quick, really quick, fun, impromptu thing to do at a pool. And when people are drinking, it lowers their inhibition. So they're more likely to dive in head first or jump in the water when they're not supposed to be because they're drinking. It just lowers their inhibition. Also, we found that although they intend to do a shallow water dive, because their motor abilities, motor functions are affected by the alcohol, they don't end up doing a shallow water dive. They rotate more vertically so that they can break their neck. So what we say is that alcohol and water don't mix. And as we have written many times, if you're going to have a pool party and there's going to be alcohol, do the pool party first without the alcohol being served. No alcohol. You can't drink until after we're done. Pool parties get boring after an hour and a half. And many people don't even want to swim. They just want to get their belly buttons wet. And so if you have a pool party, first of all, the best thing to do is to ban alcohol. But if you feel that alcohol must be a part of this evening or this afternoon, well, then we're going to swim from noon until 2, and then we're going to close the pool and serve food and drinks, and to separate that from the swimming activity, because again, we know that alcohol and water does not mix.